So the divine asked me to make a video talking about people's compassion being exploited or manipulated. Also, I just wanted to reach out to some fellow intuitives who are empaths. If you're an intuitive, chances are you are extremely empathetic and compassionate. So the divine is giving me this like protective energy over you guys, where it's kind of like, leave my empaths alone. Because as empaths, we tend to be very, very easy to emotionally manipulate because we just feel so incredibly sorry for people that we make concessions and compromises that we wouldn't normally make in order to help them. So in a way, we become too selfless and then end up losing ourselves in the process. So that's why the divine is, saying that empaths especially need to use discernment when they are doing favors for people, and to be very, very careful when they are helping others. Make sure that they're not being taken advantage of or, for granted or manipulated. So that's my little side note for empaths and people who report in directly to the light. It felt like a protective energy from the divine, just so you guys know. One of the ways we are manipulated is via guilt. And that is when we are made to feel like total douches for not doing something. If somebody asks you for a favor and you don't do it, you look like a total douche. So this is where the divine is asking you to use discernment. Where are you doing something nice for somebody out of obligation? Do you feel beholden to them? Or is it coming from a genuine place? Is this favor really coming from your heart? Because if it's not, the universe is going to pick up on it and it's not going to be considered your truth. So be careful with that. If you're doing something out of obligation, it's not your truth. And so you're going to feel like a fish swimming upstream when you're doing that favor. Whereas if it's genuinely from the heart and you want to do it, it's more pure and your favor will probably go smoother in that case. But yeah, there's a lot of guilt associated with doing favors for people. It's like, well, if I don't do it, about family obligations. I don't really feel like going, but I have to because blah, blah, blah. I'm going to look like a jerk if I don't. Well, if you sit there and worry about how you're going to look to other people, that's your ego. And ego doesn't exist in the light, so that's also an impure decision. See how that works? Yay! So there's like several different dynamics going on when you do favors for people or try to help others. You have to, isn't it just so much easier to just offer to do something because then it's coming from a genuine place? Because it's coming from you, it's your idea. You felt compelled to do that nice gesture. I offered to do it. Maybe you give somebody flowers for no reason, completely unexpected. No occasion, just here you go. I wanted to get these for you as a nice gesture. Makes it more special. Came from within. You weren't approached. You weren't asked to do something or demanded to do something or manipulated into do something. It just came from within, originated from inside, and just came out as pure love. That's the best. That's the best when it happens that way, when you offer to do nice things for others. It comes from within. But when people emotionally manipulate us, it's just them trying to control us. It's just them trying to get what they want out of us. I mean, I used to date a narcissist, and narcissists are very, very good at receiving. So if you're giving, they're receiving. That's the way the relationship is. But if they don't get what they want or need out of you, they'll emotionally manipulate you. They'll, exploit your weaknesses. They don't really have any empathy, but they know you do. So they'll try to play your empathy because they'll see that as a weakness. They'll try to use it to their advantage. Another thing is what about abusive power? What if somebody knows you're in love with them and they hold that over you? Almost like, oh, I know you love me. I know you have a soft spot for me. Oh, you're wrapped. I got you wrapped around my pinky finger. I'm going to abuse that power I have over you to get what I want and need out of you. I'm going to emotionally manipulate your love for me. You'd never leave me. I can treat you however I want. See how that works? Abuse of power. It's not good. And then what about rescuing your partner? What if you are dating somebody that you just feel so sorry for? You love them so much and you just want to help them, and they have these like crappy circumstances going on in their life and you just want to rescue them. You just want to save them. And so you make all these concessions and all these compromises, and the person's treating you like total crap. But you put up with it because you feel sorry for them. It's like, well, they had a really, really bad childhood, so I get it. I understand where it's coming from. It's like, well, you're psychoanalyzing their bad treatment away. They're treating you poorly, but you're just psychoanalyzing it away. And maybe you're being too understanding. Maybe you're being too compassionate to your own detriment, because you're putting up with treatment that you wouldn't normally put up with from anybody else. See how that works? So your compassion is doing you a grand disservice. I think that's why the divine wants us to find partners who are an energetic match for us. And he's showing me like a tennis game, a partner that you can just hit the ball back and forth, bounce ideas off of each other. An even ebb of flow of giving and receiving, getting what you need, giving your partner what they need, equals. Because then you don't have any rescuing, you don't have anyone, feeling sorry for you. Like the divine compassion is a form of love, but he doesn't want you perpetually feeling sorry for your partner. Maybe your partner, your partner just knows you feel sorry for them, so they use it to their advantage. There's another example of abuse of power. Aside from the person being in love with you, they feel sorry for you, so you're like, I want to make this work for me. I can't believe they're putting up with all this. Wow. I'm going to test my boundaries. But cut off those puppet strings and make sure you're not being controlled or emotionally manipulated. Because this is a real sore spot for the divine. I can feel him being like completely annoyed with this subject and feeling really protective of the compassionate people out there who are being exploited. He wants you guys to tune into your head, your heart, and your gut. When I do that, my gut usually wins because it's connected to an angelic, all-knowing being, also known as my higher self. But sometimes you just need to use cold, hard logic in order to prevent yourself from being emotionally manipulated by people. Because if all of your decisions just come from pure emotion, that can get a little crazy. Sometimes you need to sit down and logically deduce, wow, this person is emotionally abusing me. This really isn't healthy for me at all. I'm severely depressed. I don't want to be here anymore. At what point do you just rescue yourself and cut the puppet strings off of yourself and say, I don't want to be controlled anymore? I genuinely feel sorry for you. I genuinely love you. And I've put you in this position of power over me to where I'm compromising so much. I've lost myself. I don't even recognize myself in the mirror anymore. This is horrible and I'm not happy. Compassion can really get you into trouble, you guys. Compassion can really cause a lot of problems, which is why you need to use discernment and be very, very careful. Make sure your compassion isn't doing you a disservice where it's just going too far and the scales of justice are being tipped. Because people will abuse their power over you. You really need to decide that you deserve better and, to focus on self-love and personal power. Making sure that person isn't just robbing you of your personal power. Maybe they feel really insecure, so they need to keep you on those puppet strings in order to feel secure in the relationship. That's not fair to you. That's not how it works. That's not love. The divine doesn't want people walking all over you. If you're worried about the person, then pray for them. Ask their angels to help them. Ask the divine to help them. But don't try to play God and, sacrifice yourself in order to save them. Some people I talk to are so incredibly selfless that their idea of selfish is just normal. Like their idea of being selfish is just healthy. It's just healthy self-love. So that's like another thing that the divine is saying is some people just need to be self-ish, because their definition of selfish is so gentle that it's like normal. It's what the divine considers normal. So don't be afraid to look out for yourself in the process. If you really do feel like someone's pushing your boundaries, stand up for yourself. Have firm boundaries. Because if you are demonstrating that love and compassion towards people, and you genuinely want to, and it's genuinely coming from your heart, then that makes the kind gesture all the more special and all the more meaningful. And in the meantime, take care and be well. Thank you.